Peace will fill the world when we finally understand that only from within can it be spread throughout the land. Every single person living peace in what we do, only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true.
Good morning, friends. I'm Leona Evans, minister at Unity of San Luis Obispo, an inclusive, progressive, spiritual community affirming the good in all life. Welcome to our Sunday morning live stream. I'm delighted that you've chosen to join us today, and I am equally delighted to be here. We have a very special service for you today. It is coming toward the end of National Hispanic American Heritage Month, and we have a very special Hispanic American to honor for his accomplishments, for his consciousness, and for his recognition that we are all one in spirit. His name is Cesar Chavez, and we'll talk about some of his incredible accomplishments during our time together today. So let's begin by taking a deep breath and just relaxing. Let's feel our muscles relax as we become very comfortable where we are. But let us also remember to be focused and mindful, and let us honor our time together by giving it our full attention. There is much to hear this morning that is inspiring and uplifting. There'll be much to think about and much to be excited about for our future and our ability to be the change we want to see in the world. So, take another deep breath and relax. And let us affirm together, I am now open and receptive to the living spirit of truth. Once again, I am now open and receptive to the living spirit of truth. And so it is. Amen. Let's open our service with a special joy song sung by Matthew J. Evans.
Good morning. Today we're going to sing Let Your Light Shine by Janet Manning. Please sing along with the lyrics on the bottom of the screen. Let your light shine wherever you are. Let your light shine. The world needs a star to show the way to wise ones who seek a holy birth, to radiate a message of love and let your light shine at work or at play. Let your light shine, for this is the way to make the world a brighter place, a place where life is filled with grace and joy will come winging. Your heart will be singing when you let your own light shine. Let your light shine to bless and to cheer. Let your light shine, the message is clear. The world takes on a splendor when love illumines you. It soon reflects the sender Let your light shine, whatever the hour. Let your light shine, for you have the power to make the world a brighter place, a place where life is filled with grace and joy will come winging. Your heart will be singing when you let your own light shine. Have a great morning, everybody.
Thank you so much, Matthew J. Evans. That was just lovely. Let your light shine. One of the most powerful affirmations there is. Let your light shine. Well, National Hispanic American Heritage Month takes place each year from September 15th to October 15th and celebrates the contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. Today, I would like to honor a Mexican American who made not only incredible contributions to civil rights, but someone who chose to live the Gandhi legacy of nonviolent action. His name is Cesar Chavez. And today, I want to talk a bit about his life and his tremendous work. For me, embracing the lifestyle of nonviolence is one of the most powerful commitments we can ever undertake and contributes immeasurably to our goal of moving from a culture of violence to a culture of peace. Cesar Chavez was an American labor leader and civil rights activist. He was born on March 31st, 1927 in Yuma, Arizona. Now, his family lost their homestead during the Great Depression and relocated along with 300,000 other individuals to California, where he and his family became migrant farm workers. It was a very, very difficult life, a very, very hard life. It was abusive, it was exhausting, and it was at that time that Cesar became determined to help end the suffering of the farm workers who didn't have a voice. He co-founded with Dolores Huerta the National Farm Workers Association, which later became the United Farm Workers Union. He led the famous Delano Grape boycott. He instituted the first union contracts requiring rest periods, clean drinking water, hand washing stations, and the first health benefits for farm workers, including protective suits to keep them from the poison of the insecticides. In 1994, 1 year after Cesar Chavez died, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Clinton for his work as a labor leader. Former President Barack Obama said, Cesar Chavez left a legacy as an educator, an environmentalist, and a civil rights leader, and his cause lives on. As farm workers and laborers across America continue to struggle for fair treatment and fair wages, we find great strength in what Cesar Chavez accomplished so many years ago. And in 2014, former President Obama proclaimed Cesar Chavez Day to be celebrated each March 31st, the anniversary of Chavez's birth. Let's talk more about the works and the life of Cesar Chavez after we hear some wonderful music from Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans.
Here is a song from the great and prolific Jerry Herman from the musical Dear World. It was based on the Mad Woman of Sci-O. think that's how you pronounce it. Here we go. It's called Dear World. It is the title tune. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Please take your medicine, dear world. Please keep your pressure down, dear world. Promise to thrive on each word your doctor speaks. He'll bring the roses back to your cheeks. You've been a pallid and blonde world. Stick out your tongue and say, ah, world. We'll give you plasma, tonic by the spoon, so be a good world. Take your medicine, dear world. Keep your pressure down, dear world. Get well soon. Please keep your fever down, dear world. Please keep your courage up, dear world. Your vim and vigor is very sorely missed. Help us to declare you patient dismissed. Stand on your crutches with pride, world. You've got to save your own hide, world. We'll bring the lilacs until you're back in tune. So be a dear world. Keep your fever down, dear world. Keep your courage up, dear world, and get well soon. Someone has wounded you, dear world. Someone has poisoned you, dear world. And those who love you defiantly insist that you get off that critical list. So make your recovery, dear world. We're sick of having a sick world. We want you dancing tomorrow afternoon. So be a dear world. Take your stitches out, dear world. Rip the bandages off, dear world. And get well soon. Dear world, get well soon. We wish you the very best. Right, Matthew?
Oh yeah, the best indeed.
Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible song. Thank you so much, Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans, for another wonderful rendition of a very timely song. Now, Dear World was the title of a Broadway show that didn't run for a very long time. That song was written several decades ago, and apparently it was timely then. And apparently, it's very timely now. I would like to ask you to join me in being part of replenishing the earth, of taking time each day to ask ourselves, how can I reduce my carbon footprint? How can I make better use of the resources around me? What kind of car, vehicle would be the best for me to drive to support planetary reform? How can I reduce, reuse, recycle? What can I do to be part of the change that will save our planet for our children and grandchildren? And see the earth green and see the animals thriving. And see us being wise stewards of our beautiful planet Earth. Cesar Chavez was not a Unity student, but he embodied the principles of a Unity student. He knew who he was. He knew how strong he was. He knew that if he let his light shine, he could benefit so many people with his rich idea of equality for the workers, equality for all people. He believed that there was value in each one of us. And he knew the power of nonviolence, the incredible power of nonviolence, the way Gandhi taught it. And he put those ideas to life to make an amazing change. Now, one of the longest and most powerful nonviolent protests that Chavez led was the Delano Grape strike and boycott, which lasted from 1965 to 1970. And let me just take a moment to say, 5 years being on strike is an incredibly long time, an incredible show of faith, an incredible, indomitable spirit among all people who participated. And so let's just take a moment to honor that this Delano Grape strike lasted for 5 years. It began on September 8th, 1965, when Filipino-American grape workers walked out on strike against the Delano, California table and wine grape growers. They protested years of poor pay, getting 40 cents an hour. Desperate working conditions, no days off, unsanitary living and working environments, sleeping on floors. The Filipinos asked Cesar Chavez, who led the National Farm Workers Association, to join their strike. Well, Chavez knew how important it was to join forces with the Filipino workers and to put an end to the problem of the growers historically pitting one ethnic group against the other to break up strikes and boycotts. He also insisted, Chavez did, that the strikers take a vow to remain nonviolent. Well, Cesar Chavez led a 300-mile march from Delano to Sacramento, California, creating awareness of the desperate plight of the farm workers. They drew support from other unions, from church activists, students, and other civil rights groups. They participated in marches, community organizing, and nonviolent resistance, which gained the movement national attention. Well, about 2.5 years into the strike, a number of the strikers became impatient. They talked about violence, about striking back at the growers who abused them. They said that they deserved it, and they were really, really getting impatient and deeply, deeply frustrated. Well, Chavez rejected the culture that raises children to believe that you're not a man if you don't fight back. Chavez wanted the strikers to follow the tradition of his hero, Mahatma Gandhi, and the Gandhi King practice of nonviolence. But some of the strikers believed that nonviolence was the same as non-action or even cowardice. Chavez believed that nonviolence is much more powerful than violence and that it supports you if your cause is a just one. He believed nonviolence forces people to be creative and allows them to focus their attention on the cause they wish to accomplish instead of focusing on hate and revenge. Chavez said, "However important the struggle is, and however much misery, poverty, and exploitation exist, we know that it cannot be more important than one human life." Now, in February of 1968, Chavez announced that he was fasting in the tradition of Gandhi to rededicate the movement to nonviolence, and he decided to drink only water for 25 days. Eventually, of course, he became extremely weak. Hundreds of thousands of people came to where Chavez was fasting, and pretty soon, all talk of violence stopped. Dr. King wrote to Chavez expressing admiration and solidarity. And Senator Robert F. Kennedy visited Chavez, and he said, out of respect for one of the heroic figures of our time. Chavez said, the truest act of courage is to sacrifice ourselves for others in a totally nonviolent struggle for justice. Well, for over 100 years, farm workers had tried and failed to organize a union. Chavez knew that farm workers needed more than just a strike. And he read about Gandhi's boycott of salt in 1930. Now, let me just give a brief overview. When Gandhi found out that the British, who were ruling India at the time, decided to tax the Indian people for the salt that they made, that the Indian people had to surrender the salt to the British would sell it back to them, and they would have to pay taxes on it. Gandhi said, that's it. And he marched down to the sea, knowing that he and his followers would be arrested for breaking the law. And they started to harvest their own salt. They were arrested, and so many, hundreds and thousands of people were arrested. Their jails were more than full. And eventually, because of that salt boycott, which went on day after day after day, the British finally acquiesced. Well, Chavez was also influenced by the Montgomery Bus Boycott in the mid-50s. Now, briefly, the Montgomery Bus Boycott was in response to the fact that Black people were not allowed to sit at the front of buses, and yet they had to pay the same fare. They were told that they had to get on in front, pay the fare, get off the bus, and go back and get on the back. Well, there were many times when the bus drivers started the bus before they got to the back. And so, in honor of civil rights, they decided they were not going to take the bus anymore. Not at all. And they continued to not support the city buses for a whole year. Economy suffered. Even though it was very difficult for Black people to not take the transportation to work, they walked. There were certain buses and trucks provided for them by other volunteers, and they managed to boycott the bus service for an entire year until an agreement was signed. So, Chavez decided that he would use the power of the boycott. Well, hundreds of Grape strikers traveled across the United States and Canada talking about the strike, which had taken place originally in California. They organized mass support for the Grape boycott. Chavez and the farm workers believed that if consumers knew about the suffering of the field laborers and their nonviolent struggle, they would respond. And so they asked people across the country to stop eating California grapes. And millions of people responded, giving many parents the opportunity to show their children a powerful lesson in social justice. The boycott emerged as one of the most powerful and memorable nonviolent campaigns to raise awareness of the lives of farm workers and to challenge injustice in the agricultural industry. On July 28, 1970, one of the largest growers of grapes came to the table with union leaders. The next day, Chavez announced their victory. Soon, the power of the United Farm Workers had grown from 3,000 workers to over 70,000 workers. And so, what a blessing it is to honor Cesar Chavez for his power, for his wisdom, for his patience, for his rich spiritual life that caused him to know that life was worth more than anger and revenge, that life had a meaning and purpose, and that each individual, no matter what their economic status was, had the right to prosper, to be blessed, and to be compensated for their hard work. I'm so inspired by the work that can be done by a few people who have an idea. A few people start great things. Not everyone dreams up ideas. Not everyone follows them through. But each of us, when we come together, each of us, when we understand the power of the idea, the power of what we call the metaphysical trinity, mind, idea, and manifestation, when we understand that, we realize that just because we might be advanced in one area and not at all sophisticated in another, there are others whose talents flow in the opposite direction. There are those that will take up where we left off. There are those who will do things that others can't or don't feel inclined to. There are those who have specific ideas in certain disciplines that can contribute immeasurably when they know that they're part of an unstoppable team. When they know they're a part of an unstoppable team and can take each other by the hand and say, we're in this together. Now, there was no history, if you recall, of different cultures coming together to be workers striking because the employers were unfair. That never happened before. But what about that Filipino worker or that small group of workers that made an appointment with Cesar Chavez and said, you know, if you're not really busy, well, maybe for the next 5 years, they didn't know that at the time, would you join us? In other words, will you be the first individual to have a multicultural effort toward healing the problem of discrimination against the farm workers? Who thought of that? I mean, we know that these ideas exist within us, but the first person who said that, was the person college educated? Was the person someone who never had a chance to go to school because they had to work? Who was that person that said, I bet we can do it better together? And what was going on in Chavez's mind when he said, yeah, this would be the first time, and we are better together. The problem of the Filipino farm workers is yours right now, but the minute we shake hands, it becomes ours. And who were the people? Millionaires? Doubt it. Some educated, some not, but all with the light of spirit inside of them, each one of them with the divine light inside of them, to connect the words being spoken with the passions of their heart and soul. Of course, they didn't know it was going to last 5 years either. I mean, that certainly has gone down in history as the longest and the most successful of the nonviolent protests. But they went ahead and they did it. And they saw the inspiration in Cesar Chavez. They saw his wisdom. They saw the power. And even when many of them said, I would like to hit one of these people over the head, I would like to strangle them, I think they're being so awful to us, and we want revenge, and the heck with the talk nicely to them business. They were the ones that saw Chavez do what Gandhi had done in the face of the threat of violence. He fasted until the workers begged him to eat something, begged him to stop fasting as they did with Gandhi. And they said they wouldn't push the idea of violence, that they would go through with Chavez's plan. And they did. And they did. And so the descendants of those who participated in the Delano boycott have a powerful story to tell. The power of nonviolence. The power of love. The power of the light within us all. Relax now as we move into our time of meditation, contemplation, and integration of today's message. The message of the light and power within us. The recognition that we can do all things when we know who we are and what is ours to do. Let us affirm in the quiet of our own being, I am one with divine light. I am guided and illuminated in all ways. I am one with divine love. I seek and attract my highest good. I am one with the divine power of life. I am energetic, poised, powerful, and strengthened by the divine I am within me. I do what is mine to do, and I open my arms to community, shared vision, and the joy of helping make this world a finer, better, place. And so it is. Amen. I just want to take a moment to remind you about Diane Davison's grief workshop. Please give her a call or email her. It is a powerful opportunity to let go of some difficult memories from our past and truly transform them. Let's take a moment now to bless the offerings and tithes that you would share with Unity of San Luis Obispo. Thank you for your loving support. We give thanks that Unity of San Luis Obispo is a mighty spiritual center, mighty to attract its good and to share our good with others. Please remember that a portion of your tithes goes to support organizations that honor human rights and the restoration of our planet Earth. Let's speak the words of our prosperity affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive.
Here's a gorgeous song from certainly one of my favorite movie composers, Elmer Bernstein. It's from it was a huge undertaking. Mentioners Hawaii, it's the main title. One, two, three, four. Bernstein's main title to his score for Hawaii, 1966.
Thank you so much, Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans. So beautiful and so inspiring. Thank you so much. Let's sing our peace song, shall we?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now let's speak the words of our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Friends, please press the like button and share your comments with us. We really look forward to hearing from you. Also, we have a brand new podcast, and it's called Decluttering Inside and Out. It's available free of charge wherever you get your podcasts. Have a wonderful week. You deserve it.
Every single person living peace in what we do, only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come